Hey VV Nation, welcome to the channel. My name is Glenn, Senior Stock Market Strategist for VectorVest, and on Mondays, the 6 p.m. video is all about stocks for the week for both the US and Canada. And I know you guys like fish, so this should be a short to the point fish video that I'm giving you today, all right, for both the US and Canada. Now, I created a new search that I want you guys to take a look at. Utilizing the VectorVest software, of course. Relative timing, which is the short-term price trend of a stock, trending higher for the last 3 days. And the reason why this is important because the market's moving a lot sideways. I've been letting you know it's been a tough market to invest in. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. And I want to make sure that I'm buying into stocks that are rising. But I'm going to show you a way to manage these stocks once you are in them. I need the stock's earnings growth rate to be less than the stock sales growth rate. Why? Because the earnings is the engine that drives the stock's price higher. But the fuel for the engine is the sales growth. I want the earnings growth to be less than the sales growth. I want the sales growth to be higher because that helps me to understand that the stock should be able to be sustainable as far as earnings go. And I do want the earnings growth to be in the positive, so greater than zero. Simple search that I built. All right, and I'm going to call this my weekly stocks on the move. Now, from here, I ran the search. I did some cherry picking. I got some stocks for you, 5 stocks. Taiwan Semi, Piper Sandler, AXON. This is a stock that I want you to keep your eyes on. I'll come back to that in a second. Why? Bit Digital seems like crypto wants to get back on the move again. Today, it's up 4.5%. And ACM Research, ACMR. All of these are stocks that I found. Look at them. Relative values above 1. These are still stocks that should outperform the market. 4 out of the 5 have relative safeties above 1. These are safe stocks. And 4 out of the 5 have relative timings above 1. The one that does not is ACMR. All of them have VSTs above 1. 4 out of the 5 have CIs above 1, which tells me that they're not as volatile as a lot of other stocks in the market. Let me scroll over a little bit. The earnings growth rate. Double-digit earnings growth rate. That's a positive sign. And my sales growth are still higher than the earnings growth rate. Wow, look at Bit Digital. It's got a 266 sales growth, 28% earnings growth. ACMR has a 31% earnings growth, 105 on sales growth. But all of the sales growths are higher than the earnings growth rates. So for stocks that I'd like for you to take a look at from a fish perspective, I think this is a good list of stocks. So I'm going to graph all of these. And as I graph them, I'm going to look at them in the star search layout. Why? Because I told you that I was going to show you how to manage these stocks. Biggest question I'm getting in the live streams is, well, I got into this stock. How do I know when to get out of it? Now, I like 3 different graph layouts when I'm looking at stocks. I like the 3 to 8 and the 20 on a graph. Is the stock above the 3 to 8 and the 20? I like the near perfect indicator that Stan Heller came up with in Canada. It shows me if the stock has got a trend by way of moving averages of the stop price, and does it have a trigger on moving averages of RT. But this I like the most from the purposes of managing an individual stock. This is the 3 questions I need you to ask. 1, bottom left, top right. Yes. Is it in the fast lane? Yes. With the, I guess it's only 2 questions. Bottom left, top right, fast lane, boom, there you go. Now, interesting on TSM, in the fast lane, closed candle. If you're already in it, leave it alone. If I'm not in it, I would really like to see the stock go 12 cents higher than the high. Notice that when it's in the fast lane, that's where you're making your money. As soon as from the perspective of closing out, as soon as it closes into the middle lane, take half off the table. Guess what, folks? You just locked in some profit. When do you get back in? If it's back in the fast lane for 2 days. Boom, boom. This would have been the day you got back in. You took that half that you got out of and go back into it. Today, you'd be happy. It gapped up. It never claimed back down to close the gap. It is a closed green candle. If you're in it, you're fine. If you're not, I'd wait for 12 cents higher than the high. Let's go to the next one. Piper, bottom left, top right, yes. Fast lane, yes. What do I see, though? The stock is moving sideways in the fast lane. I'd be careful with this. And it's a down day. I'd be careful, but it met the criteria. It's in the fast lane. I would wait on this, all right? Let's go to the next one. Wow. Now, this one I like. This is an interesting stock in that it deals with law enforcement and medics and all of that kind of stuff. It's everything, when you look at the onboard cameras, comes from Axon. A lot of different law enforcement stuff comes from this company. I like the move currently, moving from the middle lane up into the fast lane. But I know that they just got a contract with a drone service. They bought a drone service so that to help police officers when they're doing their stuff, to help paramedics when they're doing their stuff. I like this. I'm all about law enforcement anyway, and this deals strongly in the law enforcement space. It's a $300 stock, currently in the fast lane. If nothing else, look out for this stock. Do your homework on the stock, but I do like the play. Next one, bottom left, top right, fast lane, yep. Would I get into it now? I'd look for 5 cents higher than the high because it's trading less than $20. Both DPOs are on the rise, but definitely moving. And the last stock is ACMR. It got into the fast lane today. I like the trend moving higher. I would wait to make sure that it's solidly in the fast lane. All right. Now, one last thing I want to do. I track a portfolio for the top 5 weekly picks. I've been tracking it since, when did I start tracking it? On 1/8 of 2024. The portfolio is up 21.5%. I try to make sure I keep 4 stocks in it. ACMR just got sold today. Interesting. What are the stops that I have in place? I got 3 stocks. Very simple. When RT goes below 1. I like that layout. If I'm going to buy into stocks that are on the move, as long as RT is above 1, that's a good time to be in it. When RT goes below 1, that's it. It got out of that stock today. Next week, I guess I'm going to have to put another stock in there. I try to maintain 5 stocks. I do like the move on the equity curve, but it's up 21.5% just looking at the Monday's videos and making sure you take advantage of them. All right, let's do the same thing for Canada. All right, Canada created the same search, relative timing trending higher for 3 days, stocks earnings growth rate less than stock sales growth, earnings growth rate greater than 0. But I put an extra line in here because they're Canadian stocks that the average volume had to be greater than 50,000 shares. All right, make sure I got some liquidity in these stocks. Let's go take a look how many stocks I come up with. 3, I Am Gold, Bosch Health, and Touchstone. All right. Couple of them, all of them are lower dollar stocks, which is why I wanted to make sure I had at least 50,000 shares of average volume. Relative value, 2 of them have relative values above 1. None of them have relative safeties above 1. So these would be more considered right here. These top 2 would be more considered aggressive picks, whereas Touchstone would be more of a speculative pick, but they all have RTs above 1. CIs, only one has a CI above 1. Let's scroll over a little bit. There's the earnings growth and the sales growth. Of course, the sales growth is higher than the earnings growth. All right, make sure that the earnings growths are sustainable. All right, let's go look at these graphs real quick. See if I like these as well. Looking still at the star search. Again, from the mindset of just looking at the graphs to make a decision. Take off the crosshairs, take off the last close. I like this IMG pinch on the Bollinger Bands. Look at the move in the fast lane. I like that play. Same thing with BHC. Look at that. In the fast lane, stayed. Currently still in the fast lane. Both DPOs are running. I'd look at 5 cents higher than the high before I get in. And the last one is Touchstone. Petroleum in the fast lane. Love the pinch in the Bollinger Bands. Nicely out. Both DPOs positive, moving up. I'm looking for an entry of 5 cents higher than the high. All right, so those are my 3 picks for Canada. And then let's go look at your portfolio. Up 4%. When did I start this one? I started this one on 4/8 of 2024. It looks like it got out of Touchstone. Why? Because RT went below 1. I still think that from the standpoint of looking at stocks that are on the move and in a sideways trading market, that's a great stop for you to get out to capture profits. RT below 1. So we got into Touchstone today. It got out. I am still in 1 stock. I only needed to get into 2 stocks. One of the 2 that I got in today is I Am Gold. Right now, it's got an ROI of negative, but overall, look at these stocks. BDT, 4/8. we're up 37%. NVIDIA, 6.3, we're up 13.5%. SES, 4.8, we're up 1%. And IMG, we just got in. And keep in mind, if any of these stocks have an RT below 1, we get out of them. And next week when I give my top weekly picks, we'll put whatever amount of stocks that we need to get into. That's it in a nutshell, folks. So I wanted to show you the new search that I created specifically for the weekly picks. I wanted to show you that we are tracking them. 4%, at least it is positive. And by time next week, if we get out of any more stocks in the Canadian market, I'll put whatever is needed from next week's picks as well. Folks, if you've made some money from these picks, just type the word money in the chat. Whether you're in US or Canada, if you've made some money from these picks, type the word money in the chat. If you're brand new to the channel, I invite you to definitely go subscribe to the channel. Hit the subscribe button, hit the bell icon. If you like what you saw today, don't forget to hit the like button. Folks, this video is over. Until the next time, see ya.